I have officially completed my first month of the Stewardship Project, and now it's time to check in and see how much progress I've made towards my 100-pound goal. Have I lost any weight at all, or am I ready to throw away the scale and give up? Welcome to episode 6 of the Stewardship Project. Before we talk about how much weight I've lost in this first month, let me kind of set up the context for you. I started my new eating plan on December 29th of last year. I started eating primarily a high protein, high fat, low carb kind of diet. And then on January 5th, that's whenever I started working out 3 days a week for about an hour and a half each time I would work out. Then on January 19th, I made a change to a new workout plan that I'm doing now that has me working out about 15 to 20 minutes a day for 6 days a week. With that in mind, let's look at what the scale says. On December 29th, I weighed in at 328.6 pounds, which honestly is still pretty hard to process. And this morning, I weighed in at 321.7 pounds, which means that in this first month, I have lost 6.9 pounds. One of the cool things about having a smart scale is that it tracks my progress and all of my weigh-ins. So I can show you something really weird that happened this month. In my first week, I went from 328 down to 319. And then over the course of the next week or two, I lost another 1 or 2 pounds. When I weighed in on January 18th, I was all the way down to 316. The following week, I actually weighed in at 319, which was totally perplexing to me because the only thing that I had really changed was my workout. Then the following week, which is this week now, I added another 2 pounds. So since January 18th, I've actually gained 5 pounds back. You can imagine that this is very frustrating. But even more than frustrating, it was really confusing. As I started to do some research, what I learned is that the weight gain is actually a good sign because it means that my body is responding appropriately to the new workout plan that I'm on. When I read that, I'll be honest, it was kind of hard to believe because in my head, it doesn't make sense that I'm doing the same things and I'm exercising, but I'm gaining weight. Until I started to look at the rest of my Smart Scale data. My Smart Scale indicates that I've gained 5.5 pounds in muscle mass over the course of this past month. We've talked about before that a Smart Scale isn't always perfectly accurate, so I might not have actually gained 5.5 pounds of solid muscle. But what it does mean is that there is a trend in a positive direction there, which means that the weight gain isn't gaining more fat, but it is my body responding well to my new workout plan. So let's talk about that workout plan. A while back, I found this YouTube channel called Mind Pump, and I really love this channel because these guys have a lot of experience in the fitness industry, and they also get into a lot of scientific research about how to lose weight and how to build muscle. The workout plan that I started on January 5th is an old one that I had from them called MAPS Anabolic, and it's a really great workout plan, but I was having a hard time keeping up with the time commitment of an hour to an hour and a half each time I needed to work out. As I've said before, I have a really busy schedule like a lot of people, so squeezing in that much time to exercise even only 3 days a week is difficult. I came across this other plan that they have called MAPS 15. And with this plan, you work out about 15 to 20 minutes a day, 6 days a week. Each day I work out, it has me doing 2, sometimes 3 different exercises. And let me tell you, even though it's not a very big time commitment, this has been a really challenging workout for me. But since it's only 2 or 3 exercises, that really helps take away the mental block that we often face when we think about working out. I'm only in my 3rd week of this workout program, but I've already been able to see some improvement in my ability to perform each exercise. I also noticed the impact it's having everywhere else in my life. I've noticed that it has improved my sleep quality. It's definitely given me more energy throughout the day, and I even noticed a lot more mental clarity. There have definitely been some things that have changed and improved this first month, but they haven't been drastic. And when you're trying to lose 100 pounds in a year, that can be pretty discouraging. So let's talk about some things that have not changed. As I showed you a moment ago, I only lost 7.9 pounds this first month. Whenever I got down to 316 and I still had 2 weeks left in the month, I started to think to myself, I might even get down to 312 pounds, 310 pounds, and that would be a great start to this stewardship project. So whenever I started to gain weight back, that was really confusing and really disheartening. If you haven't noticed, I tend to be pretty introspective and Really all the more so since I started this project, because I really want to get into my brain and change the way I think about food so I can have lasting change. As I was processing this information and my disappointment, trying to figure out why this was so disappointing to me. I mean, after all, I still lost 7.9 pounds. That's almost 8 pounds in the first month. And what I didn't show you is that the SMART scale also showed that I lost 2.9% of body fat. That's actually a pretty solid start for my first month. I think the reason for my disappointment is that I still have that framework of instant gratification alive and well in my mind. Typically, a person is overweight because of instant gratification, because they're choosing short-term pleasure over long-term consequences. And that way of thinking also impacts how I think about weight loss. In my instant gratification brain, I've been putting in this work for a whole month. So whenever I get on the scale, I need the scale to tell me, "Hello, Mr. Olympia, what did you do with Matt?" And when it doesn't happen, my brain instantly revolts. It tells me I haven't received the gratification I need. It's time to quit. What are you working so hard for anyway? You're not getting any payoff. And that's why this stewardship project is so personal to me. Even if this channel never takes off and it's only the 4 or 5 of you that ever watch, it still matters to me because I'm working on teaching myself delayed gratification whenever it comes to health and fitness. Even though I have a goal to lose 100 pounds, I'll be honest with you, that's not my primary goal this year. If we get to December 31st and I've lost 50 to 75 pounds, but I can look back on the course of this year and see that I was faithful to what I set out to do, that will be success for me. Now, ideally, I'm gonna lose the 100 pounds and also learn good stewardship at the same time. But the point I'm trying to make is that what's most important to me right now is learning good stewardship of my body, changing from a framework of instant gratification to delayed gratification. I want to diligently work at this over the course of this year instead of just giving up after the first month whenever my progress has slowed down. By God's grace, slowly but surely, I'm learning to think in terms of delayed gratification. Maybe I should have thought of something a little more profound, and maybe this won't even make for a very good video, but I honestly think that one of the biggest lessons that I'm learning right now is that the boring things matter. Faithfulness is forged in the mundane. You know, the Super Bowl is this weekend, and the team that wins the Super Bowl is not going to win the Super Bowl because they won that game.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I know that's really confusing, but let me explain it. What I mean is that that team got there because of all of the many little boring choices they made all throughout the season and before the season even started in training camp. I think when it comes to weight loss and fitness, we all want that Super Bowl trophy hoisting kind of moment, but we don't want to pay a lot of attention to all of the boring little things you have to do to get there. And that's why I so heavily emphasize faithfulness. Yes, I want to be fit. I want to lose weight. I want all of those things, but not as an end in and of themselves. More than that, I want to be faithful. And I believe that on my path to faithfulness, I'm going to achieve fitness. It's all the boring little things that I'm doing every day that are going to make me a faithful steward of my body. It might take a year, it might take 5 years, but either way, I'm only going to get there if I'm faithful with today, and if I'm faithful with the little boring decisions that nobody cares about today. And honestly, I'm okay with boring these days. If you've made it this far, I really want to take a moment just to thank you for tuning in to the Stewardship Project. And if you're getting value out of this content, I want to ask you a favor. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. That really goes a long way in supporting this project. All right, we'll see you next week.